So, Mark, I'm taking inspiration from Damien Leone today, and my joke is going to be pushing the fringes of what we can get away with on the show. A long time ago, I used to date a girl, and she had a part-time job. She used to dress up as clowns at the weekend. It was all great, but it fell apart because her pussy always tasted funny.
Dude, that is vile, man. That is vile.
Before we forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium and I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to say 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
You literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. I'll figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm going to stick that whoop up your asshole.
Hello, welcome to the You Run podcast. My name is Scott.
My name is Marc.
And this is the only horror movie review show completely run and controlled by you. You pick the movies, you review them, you score them, pass comment on them, and you get all of this for absolutely free. Before I dive in and tell you how you can support us, Marc, how are you feeling?
Glad to be back. And for those of you who only listen to this show, I haven't been anywhere. I just missed Newsweek last week.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling better, feeling much better. Although I sound a lot worse than I actually am, I'm surprisingly okay. And I'm drinking a beer, so I'm not that bad.
You do sound rather husky. There are going to be women listening to this going, oh, listen to Marc. And men as well. You appeal to everyone.
Yeah, well, if it works for you, it works for you.
What we might get is just get a section where you can monologue and then I'll release that as a clip and see if we get some new listeners. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're better because news was fucking hard graft without you there. I haven't recorded on my own for so long. I felt like such a dick. I'm like, hi, this is fun.
I didn't mind it though because it gave me something to listen to. Like I'm here every week now, so I don't tend to always listen back to our show unless I get really, really drunk and can't remember the episode. So to be able to listen to Newsweek was like, oh, some content from the Euro podcast that I haven't heard yet.
Well, we've got other shows. Listen to them ones.
Oh, of course you have. Do you want to plug them while we're here?
No, we won't. I'll plug them later.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just dropping that nugget in to try and get them in there.
No. I'm sure I'll get plenty of time to plug them throughout this incredibly long episode, but we'll get to that in a minute. There's lots of ways you can support the show. Tell a friend. It's really, really easy. Lumberjay the Hair Guy on Instagram done it yesterday. He commented on a post. He tagged someone and said, "This is the podcast I've been talking about." So it's really, really easy to do. And thank you, Jay. That's brilliant. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely.
Review us on Apple Podcasts. Write something nice. Click 5 stars. Do the same on Spotify. You don't need to write anything. Literally hit 5 stars. Share something on social media. Buy something in our shop. We've also got our offer for our exclusive episode where we record you an episode on whatever movie you want. It can be, I don't know, anything. Scream, even though we've done that before, we'll do it again. We can do literally any movie you want. We'll record it. You can come on as a guest. We'll do whatever quizzes you want. And then we will edit that, package it up and send it off to you. And you can either give it as a gift or keep it for yourself. As you know, we bring you an episode every single week and now 52 weeks of the year. So if you didn't know already, seasons are now gone. These episodes are a mixture of poll pick movies, listener requests, new releases. We do a bit of everything. Loads of features like memes to make you mad, 3-word review, sound off. But we start each week with Marc's
Recommended account of the week.
I love the fact you still dance even though we no longer have music.
I know, I just kind of get used to it now, thinking that this is a bit where we do the dance music.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. This is my system. It works. So this week's recommended account is KD Video. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's spelled Kadi Video. Now, she is a massive account on Instagram, so she certainly doesn't need my backing. But this is more for everybody else. I love viewing her stuff, and I think everybody else who listens to the show would also enjoy viewing her stuff as well. She's very, very, very talented. And what she does is she takes sort of latest released films. So you've got your Halloween Ends, you've got your Stranger Things, you've got, my mind's completely gone blank. Your Final Destination, Carrie's Cast, all that kind of stuff. Even Twilight for Heather. I've just noticed on our account as well.
That's the
I wonder how many weeks we're going to keep doing this.
Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
We are just bleeding this Twilight thing dry. Also, she's just started doing Super Nintendo games as well. And I say that loosely, like she's making, I'm not sure if they actually work. And even the videos that she makes, I'm not sure they're actually playable videos. But anyway, I digress. I haven't even told you the main bit yet. She takes these and she makes video cases and artwork for modern release films that don't come out on VHS. I think they're playable. I'm pretty convinced that they are playable as well as a VHS. But some of the stuff she's done looks outstanding. I mean, she's just released one of Black Phone. She's done a Halloween Ends one. She's done Stranger Things, and she's done it as like a basic gift box. So Stranger Things currently is only out of season 4. Yeah. But she's done this big box set for Stranger Things right through to season 5, the final season. And she's just put the last 2 tapes in with just blanks. So when Stranger Things 5 comes out, I imagine she'll do tape releases of the season 5 artwork to then put into the collection. Mate, honestly, some of the stuff is just outstanding. And she put one on the other day for the SNES game. She'd made a Scream 5 SNES game. But the video she'd put on one of her reels was like it was in a development game, like a SNES Scream game.
Oh, wow. That's
and
cool.
Like there was a character, I think it was Casey Becker, who was jumping out of the way as Ghostface was throwing knives at her. Honestly, man, I need to do a little bit more digging myself because she's quite vague on her page how playable this content actually is. As for the games, how actively in development some of this stuff is. But she's a massive account, and I really, really adore all of the stuff. Her artwork is insane. She's so talented. So that is KD, K-A-D-I video. Check it out. Give it a like. Give it a follow. And if you like her stuff, be sure to comment on her post and tell her who sent you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good thing to do, actually. If you do go and follow these accounts, when you follow them, just say, You Run Podcast sent me. Yeah.
This is to help her out. That also helps us out as well. So
exactly that. I'm going to go and follow that account because I don't, and that sounds cool.
I can't believe I haven't spoken to you about it before, actually. She's really, really cool. So, yeah, definitely check her out, guys. I think you lot would really enjoy some of the stuff she's done. And obviously, all of this stuff she does is buyable. You can buy it. But as I say, I'm just not as far into it myself yet to know whether any of it's playable.
That's dangerous, though. When shit's buyable, that's when stuff gets expensive. That's when Lisa goes, the credit card statements come in, and I go,
Yeah. I mean, trust me, man, I'm waiting. I am actively not trying to find out whether any of this stuff's playable or not, because she's currently done a Halloween collection right up until Ends, and all the spine artwork like lines up, and even all the way through to Halloween Ends has come out on VHS, and I'm like, oh, that looks amazing. I would love to own that collection. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to dig in to find out if they're playable, because if they are playable, I'll definitely want them rather than just an ornament, if that makes sense. It's very expensive page to be getting involved in if you're a collector like myself, but as I say, it's amazing stuff, so check it out.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to go and check it out and everyone do the same. Today we're focused on a new release, and it's a sequel to a movie that I absolutely hated and tore to pieces less than 20 episodes ago, and I fucking shredded the original harshly.
I can't remember how badly I criticized. I think I was all right. I was all like midway with it, wasn't I?
Yeah, whereas I just pulled every single piece of it apart and said it was utter trash. Yeah. A killer clown is resurrected by an evil entity and unleashed on a small town of Miles County to hunt and kill for a second time. We were promised a decent storyline, a longer movie with gore like never before. Let's find out if Damien Leone is a man of his word and keeps his promises as we take a look at Terrifier 2.
So, did you figure out what you're dressing up as tomorrow?
He wants to dress up as a real guy who murdered 9 people last year.
Oh, you're not doing that?
It's just a costume. You think that guy's still out there? What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed. They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here? I wouldn't worry about it.
Wait a minute, aren't you that guy from the costume shop?
Sir, what are you doing?
It wasn't me. He was covered in blood on his shirt and his hands when he got here.
I'm telling you, it was him, Allie. Right down to the little black dot on the tip of his nose.
You're really weird, you know that?
I believe him.
About what? Something really bad's gonna happen tonight.
No, I know when Jonathan's lying, okay? I could hear it in his voice. Something's wrong.
Look, we're gonna have fun. Stress-free environment. Yep. Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today, all the way from Miles County. Please welcome Art the Clown.
Right, first off, let's get your scores for this movie. You have scored this a 9 out of 10. That score shocked me when I hadn't seen this movie. It absolutely blew me away. You're going to be hanging on for mine and Mark's scores till the end, and also your thoughts on this movie as well, because there's been a hell of a lot of input this week. Probably the most interactive episode we've ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a killer movie. Everybody's it's getting a lot of talk has been going on around this film.
A lot of love. A lot of love.
And not always. I've seen sort of mixed. I've definitely seen more positive than negative, but there is those people out there who still have something to say.
Yeah, you get them all the time, though. You got loads of those with Halloween Ends, so who knows? Before we say a word, just a final reminder that we give a full run through of the movie with all of the spoilers and everything given away. So if you've not seen this yet and you don't want to know what happens, go away. Go and watch it, come back and listen to the rest of the episode. If you don't mind having things spoiled for you, stick around. And if you've seen it, you're going to love this episode. We get this show on the road in a back alley. Where else would we start in a Damien Leone grimy movie but in a dirty back alley? As Art the Clown emerges from the mist, we also get our first kills. We get a flashback scene to him in the Morticians from the end of the first movie where we last saw him. This is just fucking brutal.
Yeah. I mean, it gets you straight in the zone, doesn't it? It's like, this is where we're going. This is what is happening. Strap in.
Yeah. So you've got the Mortician is dragging himself across the floor as Art stops to look in the mirror, and he's missing an eye that he lost in the first movie, and he opens the eye socket and we get a good look at that. Then the camera pans around and we get a big good look at the massive gaping hole in his head from where he got shot.
I can't remember. How did he lose his eye? I can't remember how his eye got lost.
I can't remember how it was hooked out. So at some point, I think the final girl hooked it out, I think.
Right.
But
I remember he shot himself because the police turned up, didn't they?
Yeah.
He didn't shoot himself through his eye, did he? He shot himself under the chin.
Yeah, I think it was under the chin. He lost his eye. He definitely lost his eye at some point because it was missing here.
Yeah.
While he's doing this, the Mortician's grabbed the phone and is dialing 911. First off, Damien Leone's practical effects are second to none. There is nobody who does this as good as him anymore.
No. This was my biggest positive from the first film. It was my biggest positive from the All Hallows Eve anthology series. I mean, he is a practical effect artist before he is a director.
Yeah.
That is his wheelhouse. And being so good at his craft opened doors for him to be able to do what he's doing at the moment. And it shows how good he is and how talented he is at doing this kind of stuff.
He is. He sits at the same sort of level as Tom Savini for what he can create visually. He's so good.
Yeah. I spoke to you beforehand this, and I said to you from a seat before we'd both seen it. I remember it for Full of Horror. We were saying like, "Oh, Terrifier 2 is out this weekend. We're going to check it out when we get home for the episode." And what did we both want from it? And I was like, I basically want Hotel Inferno without the clown. And for those of you who haven't seen Hotel Inferno, it's an Italian gore fest, basically. Low budget, practical effects.
It's if I can't think. It's if the final scenes from The Evil Dead had a baby with Super Mario. That's what that movie is.
Yeah, it is just gore on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
And that is what I wanted from this. And just in this opening scene alone, I was like, all right, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted this to be.
Yeah, because what happens next? So the guy's like trying to ring 911. He's got through to the operator, and Art the Clown delicately takes the phone off him and hangs it up, and then smashes him to pieces with a Mortician's little silver hammer. It's really brutal, and it sets the tone. But Art's not even close to being done. So he plucks his eye out and uses that to replace the one that he's got missing, and then pulls his head apart by like digging his fingernails in the top of his head and like ripping his skull apart before removing his brain with his bare hands. I was like, oh my God.
See, I was really confused at this point, and I was like, what is he doing? Is he replenishing like Jeepers Creepers does? What did you take away from this?
Yeah, that's kind of what I got, that he was just replacing the bit he needed and the brain. I don't know if he replaced the brain.
No. But we still don't really know what Art is off the back of part one.
No, and we don't really in this. I've got a good idea of what he is, but we'll get to that.
I can imagine you have some theories. I'm going down a Stephen King route, which is where I'm guessing you're getting your source material from your theories.
No, not so much. We'll get to that later.
We'll come to that later when I think that we're going to hit that point.
What he'd done next was a callback to the first movie. I hated the first movie, but I actually liked this callback where he goes and he tools up. So he's collecting various different tools and acid, and he like empties the guy's wallet and he takes a quarter. And I'm like, why are you taking a quarter? I don't get it. Art's never robbed anyone before, ever. And now
he'd want more than a quarter.
Yeah, so he like tips all this money out and like notes fall out and everything, and then he like moves the notes out of the way and takes a quarter. All the people who listen to this show know that I'm not a gorehound. It's not for me. And this is probably the limit, this opening scene, of kind of what I can endure comfortably. At this point, I am completely not on board at all.
Oh, you're not?
Not even a little bit. I am sat there going, fuck you. It looks great, but fuck you. There's no substance to this at all. But that all changes in the next scene as Art the Clown visits a dry cleaner's.
This was weird.
This was fucking exceptional. He walks in, there's a guy asleep. So as he walks in, there's a guy asleep by the door. Art then proceeds to take off all of his clothes and put them in the washing machine, which is what he wanted the quarter for.
Am I the only one who thinks it's extremely weird when Art the Clown has ears?
Yeah, I think you're alone there.
He takes the hood off and he's a bald man with ears and he's still got the prosthetics on. He looks like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
This is coming from a bald man who also has ears.
Dude, it was weird, man. It was so fucking weird seeing him like naked with his face makeup on, his hood off, and having actual ears. I was like, that is so strange. It looked very odd. Go back and watch that scene and tell me that doesn't look fucking weird.
I'm on my fourth watch now.
Are you on your fourth? Wow.
Yeah, and
this is a long fucking movie as well.
It is. We meet a new character now. I'm going to refer to them as Mini Art. And this is a little girl who looks exactly the same as Art the Clown. When she appears, the power stops working. And Art sat there reading the newspaper, and even Art the Clown's like, what the fuck? He's got this kind of, he does his mime look of like, who the fuck are you? The little girl waves, and Art waves back. And then they start to play patter cake as the guy by the front door wakes up.
So can we just assume at this point that this is their first interaction with each other?
We can assume it, but I don't think it is.
Because it seems like he has no idea who she is.
Yeah.
And he's sort of first meeting her, but then I know we're going to get the answers to all of this stuff in upcoming sequels and things like that. But
I think we got all the answers in this. I've pieced a lot together.
I pieced a bit. I figured out who she is later on, but I didn't figure out. Right. Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm kind of putting it together in my head as we're going now.
Yeah. As the guy wakes up, this is the first time for ages in a movie I sat there and went, "Close your eyes." I actually spoke out loud. I was like, "Close your eyes." This is one killer you do not want to be wide awake with. We snap cut to Art rigging out his costume. And then put it back on. And as he walks out, he knocks over a broken broom handle. And as he walks out the door, the other half of the broom handle is fully embedded in this guy's top of this guy's head. Again, the effect looks great, but it's the supernatural element that instantly got my attention. They've put a story in it. There's something going on that's not just a hardcore rip-off of Michael Myers. There's actually a decent story behind this that I'm invested in. I want to know now. Whereas in Terrifier 1, I couldn't give a shit. It's a killer clown. I don't care. I'm not interested.
Yeah, you see, I still had the curiosity in the first one, but it just didn't give enough to warrant curiosity. The one thing I want to bring up is the little girl in this is not visible by the man who wakes up in the laundromat. He can't see her. So it looks like naked Art the Clown, which, saying out loud, naked Art the Clown playing patty cake with a 5-year-old is strange enough in itself.
It is.
But what's weird is the fact that he can't see her. So I was like, is she a figment of his imagination?
No.
But she's clearly not later on. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, at this point, that was what my mind went to. I was like, oh, she's a figment of his imagination. she must have some connection to his past or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on this. So if when we go further through, the only people who see her are people who've been touched by Art the Clown.
Right.
No one sees her who hasn't interacted with Art in one way or another.
But that will contradict the first time the young boy sees her.
No, the young boy's already been touched by Art the Clown because of the stuff he found of his dad's.
Okay, we'll get to
we'll get there. We'll get there.
As we said, it's going to be a long episode.
It is. There's a lot to digest in it. We get title card, Damien Leone, Terrifier 2, and we are off to the races. And I was honestly, at this point, I was sat up in my chair going, let's fucking go. Let's go. Yeah. I'm fully in now. We meet Sienna, who's played by Lauren LaVera. Before we go any further, Mark, how old would you say this actress is? I guess.
21.
Yeah, I thought she was very young, and I felt like a pervy old man going, she's really hot. She is older than I am.
Bullshit.
She is 44 years of age, and my God, this woman is an absolute goddess.
No fucking way, man.
Honestly.
What's her name? I need to go. I'm Googling it right now.
It's Lauren LaVera. LaVera, LaVera. I didn't believe it.
LaVera. Lauren LaVera.
How old is she, Mark?
She is 44 years old.
I was absolutely gobsmacked.
Oh my God.
I've never seen
1978. Holy shit, that is insane.
I have never seen a woman in her 40s look as good as this woman does. She is an absolute goddess as far as I'm concerned, and has actually taken the number one spot of hottest woman in the world from the woman who plays Wonder Woman for me.
That is insane. I cannot believe that she is 44 years old. That is the most groundbreaking thing. You should have saved that for news.
I was going to save it for facts, but I wanted to get it out of the way because I knew that would make facts like 10 times longer than it had to be.
That's insane, man. I cannot believe she's 44 years old.
I know. She's older than me. And I was like, I said to Lisa, how old do you reckon she is? Lisa's like, she's damn sight younger than you. Like, no, she's not. She's older than me.
Fucking hell. Well, that's a trophy wife if ever I've seen one.
Exactly. Anyway, and if you are listening, Lauren, I love Lisa very much. However, Sienna is a cosplayer, and we get a montage of her building her latest costume, which is a winged angel-like character with a sword. And then we see a little bit of her normal home life. Mum's working from home. It's kind of chaos in the kitchen. And this was such a subtle way to reference the pandemic without ramming it down our throat. The mum's working from home because we've had 2 years worth of COVID. And I thought it was just a beautiful, delicate way of going, this is the world you all live in now. It was so relatable. I thought it was so well done. Such a clever way of putting that in.
I'll be honest, I didn't pick up on it, but now you mention it, yeah.
And we also meet her little brother, Jonathan, who's obsessed with serial killers, in particular Art the Clown. He's planned to dress up as him for Halloween. And I love the family. The mum's like, that ain't happening. And the sister's like, no, you've got fucking issues.
I'll be honest with you, I was not on board with his character at all. I thought his acting was pretty shit.
I liked him.
Excuse me. Apologies.
I'll edit that out. And that one. I probably won't now because you've done it twice.
Did they come in threes? I think they come in threes, don't they?
That's bad news, isn't it?
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I wasn't particularly on board with his character. I mean, I know this is a low-budget production and the casting is a lot better than most for the budget that was allocated for this film, but there was just something about his performance, especially in the back half of this film, with his interactions with Art. I just thought, oh, God, you're not very good, and you're kind of annoying me a little bit.
Well, no, I quite liked him. We get lots of conversation and filler scenes here, and there's lots of relationship building. The only thing I'd really take away from this, because I'm not going to go through it all because it's quite a lot. It's a long movie. The only thing I'd take away is that Sienna thinks that Jonathan may be a bit of a serial killer in the making. And she turns around to her mum and goes, it won't be long till you find a dead animal in his room. And that's kind of all you need from this scene. On a separate note, if you do like serial killers, we have a true crime podcast. You run podcast True Crime, where we've recently covered Jeffrey Dahmer. So go and check that out.
So that's why you were saving it from earlier.
Exactly. You teed it up. I was like, no, later. We now get more cosplay montage as Jonathan comes into Sienna's room and he asks him to fix the Art the Clown hat. We also get some shots of Jonathan researching Art the Clown and looking at news articles and stuff on the web. It's here where we find out their dad has passed away, and the cosplay character that she's building was actually her dad's design. Sienna also questions Jonathan's obsession with Art the Clown. And this is where we find out that Jonathan's got a theory that he thinks he might come back because they never found the body. And if he's dressed like him at Halloween, Art the Clown might, if he sees him, might leave him alone. It's kid logic. It works.
So his theory is based on fear more than anything else, isn't it? He's scared that Art's going to come back.
Yeah, and that's a relatable fear for a child of that age, I think, who's exposed to that kind of stuff, which you probably shouldn't be.
He's probably watched Halloween Resurrection with that scene with Busta Rhymes and thought, well, if it worked for Busta, it might work for me.
Exactly, it did work for Busta. Strap in, this bit's going to take a little bit of explaining. It goes a little bit different here. So Sienna is laying on her bed flicking through TV channels, and she comes across a weird TV show about the Clown Cafe, to which she falls asleep to. Nightmare on Elm Street time, she wakes up in the creepy Clown Cafe. I simply can't tell you how much I loved where they took this and what went on. So much happens in this little scene that I'm just going to bullet point it for you, because it's just like... Imagine the most insane dream you've ever had, where you've got shit going on everywhere. It's that. It's just a barrage for your senses. There's some woman playing the ukulele. There's Art the Clown is introduced as a special guest. There's teens sitting on a swing set. There's a preacher and a nun and a homeless man in the corner shouting weird stuff. There's a lot going on. Art comes out after he's introduced as a special guest, and he rides around on his little tricycle. Again, a callback to the first, and his tricycle makes sense now.
Yep,
because he didn't bring it. He's in a dream world. It's just bizarre. You've got the little kid eating Art the Clown cereal.
Yeah,
and like
Art Krispies.
Yeah, and there's bits of glass in it and like broken razor blades. And Art starts giving out gifts. So he gives one kid a lollipop, then he gives another one a toffee apple, then a tub of popcorn, and he hands Sienna a parcel, and she's like, I don't want that. And he kind of forces her to take it, and she unwraps it, and it's a heart pulsing, and then like all this black goop comes out of it. Before we go further, where were you with this?
I was just really, really relieved at this point, because I'd seen similar shots of this from the trailer. I was like, oh, this isn't what I want from this film. I don't want it to be all like kooky and silly. I like the gritty aesthetic of the first. So when it turned out to be a dream sequence, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board for it now. Like, I'm happy that this is where it belongs and it's not in the real world. Because when they did that thing on the advert and it was like, oh, and our special guest, Art the Clown, I was like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that's really, really stupid. But then when I saw it happen and it came into fruition on the film, I was like, oh, okay. It's in a dream. That's fine. I'm happy where it is and where it belongs.
Yeah, it all makes sense. And they do exactly what they do in A Nightmare on Elm Street. So the dream starts off fairly tame, and then when the heart's given over, it takes this drastic turn, and it's like a snap turn, exactly as it does in nightmare movies. So the boy eating the cereal is now dead. Art the Clown takes out a Tommy gun and massacres everybody on the swing set. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Sienna tries sort of crawling away, and she's using dream logic. So when they introduce the cereal, it's like every cereal comes with a prize, and they've got a picture of a knife and some other weapons on the box. So dream logic tells her if she gets to the cereal, she can get a weapon.
Yeah.
So while she's crawling for that, the girl who's playing the ukulele, still singing the creepy Clown Cafe song, Art sets her on fire with a blowtorch.
I thought this was amazing.
It's so
she doesn't stop either. She's just there on fire, still playing.
And still singing "Why She's Burning." It was so good.
Sienna got shot in the leg. That's why she's crawling along the floor.
Yeah, she took a ricochet or something. So she reaches into the box and she's cutting her hand. And yeah, could you imagine sticking your hand into a box full of broken glass? It's not going to be nice.
Yeah, I only draw attention to the fact that she got shot because obviously when she wakes up from the dream, it doesn't have effect.
What she does is she pulls out the sword from her cosplay outfit as Art the Clown fires the flamethrower at her, or the blowtorch at her. This deflects the flames back at Art the Clown, and she wakes up in the real world to find that the wings she's made for her cosplay are now on fire.
Yeah.
This is the best tribute to Wes Craven and A Nightmare on Elm Street I've ever seen. Far superior to what Stranger Things done, far superior to any nod in any other movie ever. This is clear that Damien Leone loves that franchise.
Oh, I mean, it's nice, but I wouldn't go as far as saying it's Stranger Things 4 nice. I mean, Stranger Things 4 is about as fucking homageful as you can get, really. I mean, this was good. Don't get me wrong. It's not Stranger Things 4 good.
This I thought was better. It took the essence of that nightmare world and portrayed it better than Stranger Things for me.
I mean, I got the direction it was going in, and that's why I brought attention to the fact that she got shot in the leg, because I kind of expected her to wake up with some sort of wounds or bleeding from what she'd incurred in the dream world. Obviously didn't take that direction. It just took with the subtleness of the candle sort of erupts like a volcano and sets fire to the wings, burning them. Yeah, I mean, you're more of a Nightmare fan than I am, so you would understand the more deeper meaning of this than I would.
Yeah, and I really liked it. And the other thing I liked is they kept the Nightmare franchise theme when they come into the real world. So this is where her mum goes from being relatively okay to now she puts out the fire and she goes into full Nightmare on Elm Street parent. Arsehole. From here on out, she is a parent from A Nightmare on Elm Street all the way through.
Yeah.
We get a breakfast morning scene where Sienna's obviously a little bit shaken when she sees clown cereal on the table. And then we cut quickly to Art and Mini Art. I love these little, like, I don't know, it kind of shows you what they're getting up to. It's like there's scenes where it's the clown and Mini Art, and you get a couple of these throughout where they don't talk, but they're both so good at miming, you know exactly what they're saying.
So this is the scene that is Terrifier 1.
Yes.
Do you remember my biggest gripe with Terrifier 1? I was like, so is the ending the start of Terrifier 1 or is the beginning to the start of Terrifier 2? And I didn't understand the sequence of it.
I said it would be the start to Terrifier 2. And I wasn't quite right, but it's in there.
But yeah, so this is the moment where at the beginning of Terrifier 2, you see Art doing his Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, his Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy thing where he's in his warehouse building his glove.
Yeah.
Art is loading up his bin liner with all of his tools and all the rest of it. And the TV comes on in the background, which is the news article, not the news article, it's the interview section of, oh man, my brain is hurting. I am still so ill trying to process which direction this is going. So in the first film, at the end of the first film, do you know what, dude? Please help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you,
so
at
the end of the first film, Art the Clown breaks a TV when he sees the surviving victim from 1 giving a news interview, and he kicks the TV out of rage. And this is that scene in Terrifier 2.
Yeah, but in that first film, we get that scene at the beginning of Terrifier, and then it goes back to the character, which then ends on that character, and then comes into fruition again in Terrifier 2.
Yes.
And I feel it's going to come back around in Terrifier 3 and hurt my brain so much more.
Jonathan is now at school. 2 of his friends have found a dead possum, and they're poking it with a stick. And Jonathan's like, look, stop, it's not very nice. They tease a little girl. It's mean, but I'm not going to lie, I laughed a little bit.
I did laugh.
They go, oh, come round the back of the bin. There's a cat that's had some kittens, and this little girl comes around like all gooey-eyed, like, oh, really? And then there's a dead possum with like maggots coming out of it, and she runs for her life. Straight past her teacher, Felicia Rose from Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, this was a nice little cameo. I like this.
Lovely little cameo. She comes over and gives the boys a bollocking and tells them to basically go indoors. And we then go into Jonathan in class, and he's asking to be excused, go to the toilet. When he goes walking down the corridor, he sees Art the Clown and Mini Art playing with the dead possum again. Again, very Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. It's empty corridors. It reminded me of the scene in 1 where you see the entity dragging the body through the school halls. It was that kind of
in the clear bag, yeah.
That kind of vibe.
Again, we were touched on it earlier. So this is the time. Jonathan sees Art and he sees Mini Art.
Yeah,
he sees Mini Art.
Yeah, he does.
So how is he able to see Mini Art at this point?
I'll get to it when we get to the diary. When I do my roundup at the end, I'm going to pull everything full circle, and there's going to be a few aha moments, I think, for you.
Right, okay.
If I've got it right, I mean, Damien Leone, if you're listening, I've got it completely wrong. Please tell me. I'm happy to accept if I've got it completely the wrong end of the stick.
He'll explain it in like Terrifier 7, I'm sure.
Yeah. They're disemboweling the possum before throwing it at Jonathan. And rightfully, he runs for his fucking life as Art and Mini Art just disappear into the wind. He bumps into a teacher who, like, turns and looks down the corridor, and there's a possum down the corridor, and she obviously rings his mum. Cut to Sienna and her friends who are talking about Art the Clown, and she shares the story about the fire. And she kind of lies, going, "Oh, it was just a candle burning and it just got a bit out of hand," and doesn't tell the full thing. We cut straight back to Jonathan and his mum giving him the biggest dressing down on the bottom of the stairs and said, "Go to your room."
Yeah.
Just the absolute disgust. Go to your room. Back with Sienna, and she's gone Halloween shopping to find wings to replace the ones that burnt in the fire. Art is in the store, and this scene is perfection.
One thing I really, really liked in the first one is his annoying presence, his mocking nature.
He's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and like, as brutal as he is, even in his brutalest of moments, he still mocks his victims and makes laughing noise. Well, not noises, obviously, but laughing at them and mocking them and doing the mime tear gestures as people crying and stuff. And I was like, I really hope they emphasize on that a lot more in this second film. And they do. And this scene in particular is a perfect example of that. Yeah,
so he's downstairs with Sienna, and he's kind of taunting and tormenting, and he does a bit of taunting and tormenting of her friend. And Sienna's like, "I'm fucking done," and goes upstairs and goes to pay. When she's trying to pay, she realises she left her bag downstairs. She's like, "I've left my bag." And as she says bag, Art the Clown just dumps it right in front of her, and then goes and stands in the corner and starts trying on all these different sunglasses.
This was hilarious. I loved it.
He puts on the sunflower sunglasses, and then I don't know if the listeners will know who this is, but then he puts on like a pair that Dame Edna Everidge would wear.
Oh, yeah.
And he's doing like this kind of, like, every time he puts it on, he turns around and like jazz hands for approval. I was cracking up at this. It's so funny.
It was a googly eye one that got me.
Yeah. I forgot he'd done the googly eyes. She's flustered and just frantically trying to pay. And then the cashier's like, "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to wrap these wings for you. I just need to take them and go and get a bag." And she's like, "No, it's fine." He's like, No, it's fine. I'll do it." And he leaves her alone with Art the Clown. And Art's got his little honker now.
Oh, man. And he's there, and she knows he's there, and she knows what he's going to do. And she's like, "Please don't."
She actually says, "Please don't."
Yeah.
Please don't.
And he's just there, and he's like, "Huh?"
But yeah, he does one, and then she like sighs, and you can see she's afraid. And as soon as she does that, he's like,
yeah. And then the cashier comes back.
Yeah, and he's like, "Fuck off, man. Leave her alone."
Leave her alone.
Yeah, and Art sort of backs off. She pays and she leaves, and Art was following her. And the way they shoot it is like Art's going to leave, and then he stops as the door closes and turns the sign from open to closed. I was like, "Oh, that cashier's fucked. That's him done."
Massively fucked.
I love how Art the Clown tries to pay. So he goes up with the little honker and he puts it on the desk to try and pay. And then just like gets down on the floor and he's emptying his bin bag of tools and weapons and like handfuls of change and trying to pay this guy. And this guy's like, "Look, man, this fucking end of the day, I don't need this shit now." And he like goes to lean over the counter to basically tell Art to fuck off. And Art bottles him, drags him over the counter, and then winds the bottle, the hand bit of the bottle into, oh man.
It's rough. And then blood starts dripping out of the bottle, and then, oh man, it's vile. It's really fucking vile.
It's really bad. And the thing is, like, that's enough. Stop there. I know a lot of people like the gore. I don't personally. I don't need what Art does next. I don't need to see him bury a cleaver in his head and then remove his head with the cleaver. I don't need it.
I do.
Do you actually need that? Would the bottle in the eye and then like knowing he's dead not be enough for you?
No. I need to see it. I need to see it all in all its practical effects. Like I'm not a weirdo who likes to see weird things. But I say that, like, I appreciate the artistry that goes into making these things. So it's not about how gory it is, even though obviously it is gory. It's like
the work that goes in is incredible because it looks real.
I think the thing is, with certain types of gory films, you've got to look at it from a certain perspective. If you see something like this, where you're pulling out intestines and you're ripping off skin and you're decapitating heads and pulling off limbs and breaking joints, it's done in a way where it's the appreciation for the effects, not appreciation for the gore. And that's whereas you could watch an Eli Roth film and the effects in that are so realistic that it is to the point where it's like, that's rough. I don't enjoy watching that. But you know, this has got that perfect level of
80s.
I know that's an effect because it's not it's a great effect, but it's not the greatest effect that it looks real.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like this, and that's why I like things like Hotel Inferno, and I like my B-movie gore for that reason, because I know it's somebody's created this and they've done it on a very minuscule budget, and it's done on raw talent, and that's why I appreciate the kind of effects that are done in this, and that's why the gore is never too much for me in these type of films, because it's not real enough to be justified as gory in my eyes.
It was real enough for me. I didn't like it. What I did like that, how much did you laugh when the mum and the son come and like tried to get into the Halloween shop and Art the clown is stood holding the severed head like he's part of the display? I burst out laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And I kind of sort of knew it was coming, but when it happened, I was like, brilliant.
Yeah, I was expecting like the head to be on a spike or something like that. I wasn't expecting Art to be stood there. And when they walk away, he kind of throws the head away with such disdain. He's like,
it wasn't worth it. Yeah,
no, it wasn't worth the effort. Back at home, Jonathan shares that there's newspaper articles and a hand-drawn picture of Art the clown in his dad's sketchbook. There's also photos or pictures of Mini Art when she was alive in some news articles. Her mutilated body was found at a carnival when she was 4. And this is when I started to tie everything together. But I'm going to get to that when we get to the carnival.
I didn't pay that much attention to the articles at this point. I didn't realise that she was the girl who was buried at the carnival until later on when Sienna's friend had telling the story in the car.
Yeah, so I knew from here. So from here on out, I was looking at it different to how you viewed it.
Yeah, I need to give this more watches. But as I say, I've been very ill this week and my brain is not retaining information. I will give it a few more watches in the coming weeks.
I'm not being funny. How many times do you go, you need to watch that again? This is the only one I've watched so many times.
Yeah, I'm usually a 3-time watch for the show. I watch everything 3 times usually. But yeah, if you're doing 4 already on a 2.5-hour film, man, that is dedication.
Jonathan thinks Sienna is connected and that she shouldn't go out tonight because it's dangerous. And she's like, shut up. You're acting like a lunatic. And we get full Nightmare on Elm Street mum again as she comes in a complete bitch mode, tells Sienna what Jonathan done at school today, and then storms off. Sienna listens to her brother and believes him, which was a refreshing change, because normally it's like she's saying you're crazy, and then when he actually explained it, she's like, you're my brother, I know you, I know when you're lying.
Yeah.
And I liked the fact that she went, okay, it sounds a bit nuts, but I believe what you're telling me. And there's not many movies that do that.
Which is a quick change of pace, though, because literally the night before she was branding him as the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, which is what her mum says to her. She goes down and tells her mum, I believe him. She's like, yesterday you said he was the Zodiac Killer, but fucking.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, she actually called it. She actually said that. We head across town to one of Sienna's friends as she opens the door to some trick-or-treaters. I will add, she was in the store earlier. This is the one who also saw Art briefly. After the kids are gone, she gets her next trick-or-treater at the door, which is Art the clown. She's like, I'm sorry, man, you put in loads of effort in. The whole mime thing's a bit creepy, and you're an adult. Adults don't get sweeties. Fuck off. And closes the door. And then he knocks again. And she's like, I'm not giving you any sweets. And he kind of like mimes, like, if you give me sweets, I'll go away. So she like gives him some sweets and closes the door. And
well, she sort of like throws them in his face as if to say, fuck off. But like, not like put them in his bag. She literally throws them in his face and they all fall all over the floor.
Yeah, which begs the question, had she put them in the bag nicely, would she have made it out of this movie?
know what she thought.
Exactly. Back with Sienna, we see news reports on the TV, and they're telling us that the reporter who was attacked by the lady from the first one is in critical condition, which also gives us a workable timeline. So we got a bit of a timeline earlier from the kicking of the TV, but we now know that these movies overlap. So the events of this movie happened or started happening while Art the Clown was killing people. The events at the start of this movie were kind of already in motion.
Say that again, I'm lost.
There's an overlap of the movies. So basically, this movie, things are going on in this movie world when the other movie was happening.
I'm looking at you really dumbfounded now for everybody who can't understand what's going on.
I'll explain it to you later.
Yeah, as I said, my brain's not working 100% at the moment.
Yeah, I think if I try and explain it to you now, your head's just going to go bang, and that's episode over. When Sienna sees this, she freaks as she takes some pills. I paused it because I was expecting to see Hypnosil on the bottle. I was 100% convinced. It's like, I'm pausing that, I'm rewinding, and on my iPad I can zoom, and I even zoomed in to see if it was Hypnosil, but it wasn't. I was disappointed.
Oh.
After she takes it, she calms right down, and then she gets this like, fuck it attitude. I'm going to the party. And she gets up and gets dressed. I'm going to say it again. It's insane to me that this actress is 4 years older than me. I can't believe that she's actually real. One of the most beautiful women on the face of the earth, and I am fanboying hard. She is absolutely outstandingly beautiful and outstandingly talented as well.
I think someone's doctored the internet, mate. I don't think that she's 44 years old. I'm not buying it at all. I'm seriously not buying that she's 44 years old. I'm not saying women can't look this amazing at 44 years old, and women maybe do look this amazing at 44 years old.
They do. Lauren LaVera does. She looks this stunning. Anyway, before we go down that rabbit hole again, we jump back to her friend as she gets another visit from Art the Clown in possibly the most brutal scene I've ever witnessed in a movie, ever. This was...
I even remember texting both you and Elise at the time, and I was like, I've just watched the most heinously brutal thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
It is so rough. So he kind of wrestles her to the floor and he slices her down her face, going through her eyeball, before he picks up a pair of makeup scissors and like starts cutting her scalp off, which he then rips off with his bare hands. She's trying to get away on the bed.
Snaps her arm off.
He snaps her arm off. He snaps her arm, then like bends it backwards and forwards like you'd break like a piece of plastic till it comes off. And then as she's trying to crawl away, he pours bleach on her back and then literally...
Well, yeah, because he's cutting her and slashing her back, and as she's crawling to the bed, he just leaves the room.
Yeah.
Similar to what he does in the first one, where he goes off to get the gun, only this time he comes back with a bottle of bleach and a tub of salt and goes and pours it on all of her wounds and rubs the salt into it on all of her scalp, and it's like... fuck.
Yeah, this was way too much for me. And you literally see every single bit of this is on camera. Nothing is off screen. It's all there. And like when he rubs the salt, she's got quite a big open wound. He's got a handful of salt and like rams his hand in the wound and like whines. It's like, oh no, stop.
It is fucking rough.
It's the most rough, harsh, brutal scene I've ever seen in a movie ever, by far.
And the thing is as well, like, and I know it's going to sound weird, but it's not done distastefully. I know that sounds weird to say, but it
sounds very weird to say.
It does, but it's shot well. It's shot very well. It all looks very good. The practical effects works outstanding in it. It's hard to watch. I'm not going to dispute that. It's very hard to watch. And all the people is like, how is he going to top that scene in the first film where he cuts the girl in half? I can't remember her name. He chops her in half with a hacksaw.
This was it.
This was fucking undoubtedly it. And I thought he'd already done that early on with the medical officer in the mortuary. I thought, fucking hell, that's already 10 times more graphic than anything that happened in the first film. But then we got to this scene. I was like, fucking hell, wow. Yeah.
It was really, really hard to watch. Jump cut to Sienna's mum, who, did you spot what movie she was watching?
I'm thinking it's going to be Night of the Living Dead. Because
they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Look, everybody can use that now, though. That's why it's free license, isn't it?
It made
Every
me
film
chuckle.
has it.
And this is before she heads off to the party. Back at her friend's house, her mum has come home and sees a window broken downstairs and goes upstairs. And I was expecting her to find the body of her daughter. No, she finds Art the Clown still going to work on the most horrifically mutilated body I've ever seen.
He's just cutting away bits of skin. And this is harrowing for me. This was a moment where I was like, all that brutality I can sit and watch and can take, and the gore doesn't bother me, but it's the emotion from the mother as she witnesses this that got me. I was like, that's it. That's too much for me. That's the kind of thing I don't like.
Especially because her daughter was still alive, and she goes, Mum. I was like, oh no.
Because you think she's dead and she's cutting away, and the mum starts screaming, and then the girl says, Mum or Mummy or something like that, and she just it's horrifying. It's so bad. I'm like, I can't believe you've gone there and gone this far with the same scene, and we're still here in the same scene like 10 minutes later.
Yeah, it's I would say this scene overall, this bit and the first bit, is a good 20 minutes long.
I mean, the thing is, well, you hear all these articles coming about this film and people are like, oh yeah, there's people being sick and people passing out in the cinema. We're diehard horror fans. This, although we're sat here now saying, this is awful, this is graphic, this was hard to watch, this is brutal. Imagine somebody who is not used to watching horror films going into the cinema and being like, oh, we're going to go watch a Halloween film. Oh, it's the Halloween season. Let's go watch this scary clown. Having no idea what the fuck they're walking into. I thought it was all just clickbait and stuff like that. But I can completely buy somebody who's not into horror going into this film and fainting or being sick and passing out easily.
You imagine if they've just come off the back of watching, I don't know, they sat at home that afternoon, they watched The Lion King with their kids, and then they walk into this. Oh man. I get it. I can see it. The good thing he does in this, though, Damien Leone, I think, found the balance right. So he does this really horrific scene. He does it a lot. And then he'll go from that and he snap cuts away from it and he takes you somewhere that's the complete opposite in tone. So we jump over to the party and they're all getting drunk. They're taking, they're drinking, they're doing shots, they're taking Molly, which I'm assuming is some sort of new ecstasy that the kids of today take.
I'm guessing. Well, I think it's ecstasy. It's basically the American version of ecstasy, I think.
Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Okay. We also meet our friend's boyfriend, who honestly is the only completely pointless character in this movie. He serves no purpose whatsoever apart from to be fodder for Art later.
And a taxi driver.
They could have used a taxi driver and got the same effect. We now jump to the friend's house from earlier. Art opens the door to some trick-or-treaters.
Oh, man. And it's a mum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the head of the mum, and he's got, like, the brains, and he's, like, put sweets in the brain.
Yeah, and they're pulling it out, and it's all goopy, like, oh, it's goopy. And the mum who's taking the kids round is like, oh, don't worry, it's just pretend. And Art's there like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, and they get a kid tries to take another one, and Art, like, slaps his hand.
Yeah, they said, no, one.
Yeah, you only get one. Again, I've got to praise Damien Leone's practical work. It's throughout the movie. It's brilliant. It's a huge step up from what we got in Terrifier as well. This is a bigger budget production, and you can tell he had more money to play with because he really made it work.
Do you know the difference in budget? Do you know what the first one and the second one? Are you saving it for facts?
No, I'm not saving it for. I think the first one was about $36,000, not including advertising.
Because this one was a 250,000.
Yeah.
Does that include advertising or does that?
No, I think it was 300.
I think this has pretty much advertised itself, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, so this has probably got 10 times more money than he had first time around.
Because I'm not too sure how far into the film he got, because I know he had to start a Kickstarter campaign to finish the film.
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's all the carnival stuff.
Yeah, and I know Bloody Disgusting helped him as well. So they were the distributor for this, and they pumped money into it as well.
Rightly so as well. I wish I was a shareholder in this film.
So do I. Over at Sienna's house, Sienna's mum is now. They have a really horrible scene with Jonathan, and I don't like this scene. So Jonathan is trying to explain to his mum that he's found all these drawings in his dad's like old sketchbook, and he's found Art the Clown and news articles, and his mum is just an absolute arsehole, tears up the scrapbook and then for good measure gives him a slap. If you're a mum like this, just take a breath and walk away, because this was horrible to watch for me. I hated this.
Yeah, it wasn't nice to watch, but at the same time, I didn't sort of look at it the same aspect you did. I kind of get it. They're all a grieving family. All of them are struggling with the death of her husband as well as their father.
Yeah.
She's dealing with the same level of grief as they are, and she's trying to hold it together. And I can't possibly imagine being a parent, losing a partner, and then your kids start acting out the way that, even though he's not acting out, it would appear. We know he's not acting out, but as a parent, you would automatically assume that he is acting out with his behavior, dead animals at school, all the rest of it. And then he's fabricating these stories about her deceased husband and his affiliation with a serial killer clown. You would be like, what the fuck are you doing, child?
Yeah.
You know, I maybe obviously wouldn't react in the same way she does in this.
Yeah, I think
scene,
if you are in this
I
situation,
get the angle he was trying to come from with the way he shot it.
I get it. I just didn't like it.
No.
Jonathan runs out of the house, and as he runs out of the house, you see a dirty van parked up on the side, which we know from earlier is Art the Clown's van. After this, his mum finds her car in the garage covered in toilet paper and shaving foam, and it's got bitch written in the window, and she loses her shit thinking it's Jonathan. She calls Sienna and starts having a rant and rave at Sienna, and because Sienna's high as a kite, she's like, Mum, it's okay, it'll be fine, I love you. And they have this really touching moment where it's like, oh, I love you too. All right, yeah, it's fine, we'll sort it out. She wipes the driver's side of the car clean, and I saw it coming, but it didn't take away from how good it was. She wiped the window clean, and Art the Clown sat in the car. I didn't see what was coming next, though, when he takes
I was
his
going to
sword.
say, I saw it was coming, that he was going to be there, but there was no way I could have predicted what happened after that.
No, the sawed-off shotgun to the face that, like, caved her face in. I did not expect that for a second.
Smashed it like a fucking pumpkin, man. Just blew it to smithereens. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and we again, though, he's done that, and then we get him cut straight back to the party. And this is where Sienna spots Mini Art and freaks out and forces her friend and her boyfriend to take her home. Her friend's a bit of a bitch about that as well.
She is, but I thought she was a really, really good actress in this film. I thought she was probably one of the, if not the strongest in the entire production. I thought she was really, really good. I proper bought into her character. I thought she was really authentic.
Yeah, she was very, very good actor. In fact, I think most of the cast in this were good. I don't think there was anyone. I know you didn't like Jonathan. But
I think that's half the problem, though. I think is because everybody else was so surprisingly good. His subpar character acting was just it stood out a little bit more than it should have done. Whereas in the first film, everybody was terrible. Yeah. Everybody was dog shit. So it was kind of, you're all in the same boat. But whereas because everybody else around this one kid was so good, it was hard to then be like, I give you a free pass because everybody else was so good, I think. And especially Sienna's friend here, I thought she was great. Really, really good.
Yeah, they're all good as far as I'm concerned. Jonathan's done the thing that we all done when we were that age. He ran out of the house, done that I'm running away, and then when it got dark, come home.
Yeah.
So he's come home and he comes in to find, a mashed potato.
This was weird, man. This was weird.
So Art has posed his mum at the dinner table, and Art is serving dinner, and he serves a dollop of mashed potatoes on her plate. But bear in mind, her face is like just caved in. Her face is mush. He then takes a handful of the mashed potato and rams it into the hole that was her face previously.
And turns to Jonathan and does his man like laugh, which is just like, fuck, you know.
All before pinning Jonathan down and injecting him with God knows what was in that dirty, grotty syringe.
Why?
Again, in my roundup, I'm going to tie it all together. I promise.
I know, but I'm just drawing attention. You don't have to answer the question now, but I feel like I need to draw attention to this is where I was like, why? Why would he not just kill Jonathan? Why has he syringed him? And why is he taking him to wherever he's taking him to? It serves no purpose. Or at least you may serve a purpose, but I didn't find out why it served a purpose. And
he also steals Sienna's cosplay sword at the same time. He takes that with him when he's there.
Why?
We get Mini Art makes a phone call from the murder van, and she's doing Jonathan's voice. This is brilliant. her mime acting's incredible because the lip sync was perfect.
Yeah, I've seen this twice, and both times I paid extreme attention to her. Do you know where you get like them TikTok videos where people are doing like voiceover, the miming to like an audio track, and sometimes it's out of sync, and you're like, oh, that's annoying. Like, she was flawless with this. I thought she was really, really good.
Yeah, Sienna gets the phone call, and it's like, oh, I'm at the abandoned carnival. Could you come get me? She's like, yeah, we'll come get you. So she gets her friends to take her there. They arrive at the carnival, and Sienna gets out and goes to look for Jonathan. Her friend and her boyfriend stay in the car. What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
If that was my friend, I'd be like, come and help me find him, and you get me home, and you can go do what you need to do.
Well, both of them were reluctant to be there. She's like, oh, he's just pissing about trying to scare you. Just leave him.
Yeah, and these two idiots have obviously never seen any horror movie ever before. They don't exist in Terrifier world because they start getting it on in the car. You can take this one. I don't want to talk about this one. This hurt me.
Yeah, so Sienna's friend's in the car still, and she briefly looks to her left or her right, depending on which car she's driving in America. She looks to her left because she's in the passenger seat. Man, it's so weird that people drive on different sides of the road. Just all do the same thing. It makes life so much easier. Anyway, sorry, as I said, my brain's not right at the moment. So she briefly looks to her left, and she sees that somebody has written on the dust in the window, just the tip. And he is outside at the back of the car having a little tinkle. And I just knew immediately what was coming. I was expecting him to slice off just the tip.
Yeah, that's where I thought it was going.
I thought, because Sienna's friend's boyfriend's having a wee at the back of the car. And I thought, oh, he's going to show it. He's going to show him cutting off the end of his knob.
Dick.
I can say knob, can't I?
Yeah, you say knob, dick.
I thought he's going to cut the end of his knob off. Oh, no, this is awful. And then in the end, he doesn't. He just stabs him straight in the knob.
Repeatedly
stabs him in the knob. And then eventually doesn't just cut off the tip. He cuts off the knob and then grabs it in his hand and smushes it against the window to Sienna's friend.
Yeah, it was awful.
He proper rubs the knob on the window. He proper rubs the knob on the window. He proper rubs the knob on the window, man.
Do you think when Damien Leone was doing that, when he's come up with this idea, he's gone, so what we're going to do is we're going to rub the knob on the window, right? He's going to really smush it in. Do you reckon everyone was like looking at each other like side eyes going, is he all right? Someone want to get him a coffee? I
couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, he's actually rubbing the knob on the window.
And then he follows that by breaking the window and dragging her out of the car. I'm so pleased she put up a fight and booted him in the face.
As well, there's another thing that I like about Art the Clown is he's not this sort of immortal, although we don't know what he actually is or is. Like, when he takes damage, he actually takes damage. Like, it affects him in the moment, regardless of whether it has any long-lasting effects or not. In the moment, he gets kicked. I don't know if she kicks him in the balls or something like that, but either way, or kicks him in the face. But either way, he's like, he feels it and it knocks him for six kind of thing.
Yeah, and she runs off into the carnival to try and find Sienna. And they're calling to each other. And while they're doing this, Art corners the friend in the bathroom. During this time, Jonathan's also woken up in the haunted house, but that's kind of irrelevant at the moment. He's seen Mini Art and she's done a weird, like, mushed up face thing, which I think is probably the worst looking effect in the film.
But again, why? Because that doesn't come back in again.
We'll get there.
She cuts her face off and she looks like the victim from the end of the first film.
Yeah.
And she's all chopped up and cutting it off with scissors. And then when we see her again 2 minutes later, her face is normal.
Yeah.
You better have a very good fucking round for this one.
Art gets very brutal in here as well. Acid in the face before kneecapping her and crushing her chest with a table leg with nails put through the end of it.
I like this because I like the way that she stood carrying at the back of the bathroom and he's walking over with this really cool weapon. And he's got a hand behind his back, and you're like, what is he? Why is he not? I'm hesitating because I'm going to sneeze. No, it's gone. You're right.
It's gone.
And he's gonna go over and he's gonna hit her. And he's like, why is he hesitating? What's he doing? And the camera pans behind his back, and it's like hydrochloric acid or something like that. And he just throws it, and her face just melts, and you're like, no, again, just amazing effects.
And again, not satisfied with what he's done first, he starts rummaging around in her insides in the big hole he's just ripped in her chest with the big table leg with nails. And Sienna turns up I'm going to say Sienna does not fuck around when she gets there. She sees what's happened and she just fucking goes for Art. She's like, well, fuck, it's you or me. It's going to be you.
I don't know, because it kind of comes more from the fact that she sees it and she is shell-shocked for a good minute or two. And then I think it's the fact that Jonathan turns up in the room.
Yeah.
And then she's like, shit. And I think it's the influence of Jonathan being there where she's like, fight or flight.
Yeah, she's a fighter, not a runner.
Yeah, and she just fucking goes, man.
Yeah, Art does fend her off and then delivers a brutal kick to the head to knock her unconscious. Brutal kick. I sort of went, no.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen the size of this motherfucker's shoes.
Yeah, they're big shoes to be kicked in the face with. Art starts hunting Jonathan through the haunted house and Sienna wakes up and basically goes after them. When she catches him, she catches Art the clown, like slashes Jonathan's face and like stabs him a couple of times in the side and the back. Seeing this happen to a kid is really rough. I really struggled with this.
I remember we just come back off from the Love of Horror and I was feeling a bit rough and I think I fell asleep the first watch and I remember going back and I missed like 25 minutes of this back half. So it's a bit jarring for me. Is this the part where they're in the church?
No, they're not there yet.
Oh, right, okay.
No, this is the bit where he chases Jonathan down, he like slashes his face and then as Jonathan like spins away, he like shanks him a couple of times like in the ribs.
Yeah, because he does like the really teenage boy scream.
Yeah, he does. Jonathan falls over and like I said, Sienna goes hard and she turns up with Art's table leg and beats the living shit out of him, leaving it embedded in the back of his head. And
I love this as well because he's like drops to his knees and he's trying to reach to grab it.
Yeah, and he can't get it.
Yeah, man.
Brilliant. And it gives them time to sort of get away. Art catches up with him in the church scene. So this is like a church. It's like a haunted house. So that this is like a church scene within that haunted house.
I love this. And he's there. Yeah. There's everybody in the church scene is all there like Darth Sith. If you imagine like Star Wars, Darth Sith, they're all there hooded mannequins. And these guys are like trying to hide out in the church.
Yeah. And Art's one of these mannequins.
And he just stands up and pulls his hood off. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
The only thing that was missing was man,
if they'd have done it, I'd have been on board for it. As cheesy as it would have been, I'd have been like, yes, that is cool.
And he uses a weapon that I absolutely hate. So this is like a metal whip with loads of scissors and scalpels and stuff on the back. And he starts to whip Jonathan's back and Sienna's back. And Sienna like tries to like crawl over to her brother and she gets on top of him. And you see in her face, he whips her a couple more times and she has a moment where she goes, fuck you. I've had enough now. And he goes to whip again and she catches it and takes it off him.
I like this, the way she grabbed it like Indiana Jones's whip.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, go, man.
Man, didn't she go to town on him when she got up?
Yeah. Yeah, she was like beating his ass all over this room. And I was like, holy shit. Like, I thought this was the end. I thought this was it. I was like, that's it. Oh, she's done.
This is what I thought because she whips the life out of him. He gets it like stuck in his face at one point, and he's down on the floor. And then she picks up like a pole off of one of the fences, like one of the like metal fences that's like surrounding part of the altar, and buries it from like in the top of his head, like right down to pretty much to his chin.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, done, happy. That was great. Brilliant ending. Fantastic. And they start leaving. And then he's on the attack again, like seconds later.
Relentless motherfucker.
Really relentless. So he knocks her down to the floor and he starts to choke her out. I'm going to say it. Art the Clown makes Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees look like pussies.
I mean...
He is hard as nails.
Yeah.
I've seen Myers and I've seen Voorhees put down from less than what Art's gone through in this.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is, you've got to walk that fine line between supernatural and superhuman, haven't you? Which is what makes one or two more scarier than the other.
Yeah.
And we have no fucking idea where Art the Clown lies within that scope.
Supernatural.
And then some, by all accounts.
Yeah. As she's about to die from being choked out, Jonathan sits up and shoots Art with a sawn-off shotgun.
I like this because he got it from Art the Clown's leg, like he had it tucked in a holster in his shoe all the whole time.
Yeah, and I like the fact that when Art the Clown realizes he's taken it, he kind of stops and like puts his hands up and like almost like it almost does like a Pirates of the Caribbean where he goes parlay. It's and Jonathan's like no, and just shoots him in the face.
And it knocks him back as well, like sends him flying.
Yeah, and again, I could have had this as the ending. Again, I would have been happy here. But again, we carry on. We go real Dream Warriors now. This is full-on Dream Warriors. Sienna comes to, and she's being woken up by her mum, who we know is very, very dead. She has a cuddle, and the mum does a full transformation into like a female Art. It's like a Freddy transformation. Goes from a lovable character to actually the bad guy. She grabs Sienna's face and gives her like flashes of what happened to her mum.
Yeah,
almost like
shows that she's been killed, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then it's revealed that this was mini Art, and this is where it all come into fruition. So, mini Art is an evil entity, and she is controlling Art the Clown, and I'll explain how when we get to the final scene.
Well, so mini Art's the big bad?
Yeah, mini Art's the big bad.
I've just put together in my mind that Sienna's dad has killed mini Art. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Sienna snaps out of this vision to find both Minnie, Art, and Jonathan are gone, and she goes running through the attraction to try and find them. It doesn't take long for her to find her brother, who's laying on the floor, and Art attacks her again, kicking her through some boards in the floor, she goes into like the catacombs. It's like the skulls on the wall. It's really dark and dingy.
I was all right with this bit. I just assumed that was where she'd fallen through into another floor in the carnival.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, but in that room, there's also what looks like a portal to hell, which is where I think Art and Mini Art have come from.
I would have preferred it to have been a mini portal to hell.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I'm literally going to explain it in 1 second. So
we're going back to the Clown Cafe. You were never going to hell.
We are. Sienna stands up and she goes to turn to get away from the hell portal, and Art stabs her with her own sword, sending her into the red hole in the floor. This is where everything made sense to me. So Sienna falls through this portal, and it's not to hell, but as you said, it's back to the creepy Clown Cafe, and she's trapped in a water tank from the Clown Cafe.
It's like the Cthulhu thing's holding her down, isn't it?
Yeah, and she's kind of wrestling with that and struggling to breathe as Art the Clown is getting like set up to do very horrible things to Jonathan. This final scene absolutely blew my mind as everything started coming together. So Art is waking Jonathan up by biting his feet, which first of all is fucking disgusting, but two would hurt so bad. He's like biting his toe. So why do that?
Oh no, he's biting his hand first. He's biting his hand, which wakes him up. And then as Jonathan scurries off, then he starts like nipping into his Achilles and shit. I was like, oh, fucking hell, that's
As he screams, Sienna lays motionless in the water tank, and her sword goes all She-Ra. And if you don't know what that is, Google is now your friend. Marc will remember She-Ra.
I remember She-Ra, and I fucking hated this scene.
I love this so much. I just
expected it to burst out of the water. Like, I have the power.
I was honestly, I was expected to go She-Ra, She-Ra. It glows with power, and Sienna starts to glow with power as well, and her wounds start to heal. The Terrifier music hits as she comes out of the tank with sword in hand. I was like bouncing up and down. I was like, fucking yes, go get that motherfucker now.
Yeah, as annoyed as I was with this scene, as annoyed as I am with this little gimmick that's going on, I do want to quickly touch on what you just mentioned there. The score for this is outstanding. I fucking love this score so much. The whole soundtrack and atmosphere that it creates is amazing. Really, it's like that. It's like that Stranger Things neon noir blend. It's perfect. It's so good.
It's such a good soundtrack all the way through, and I'm going to touch on that in facts as well. I've got lots of facts that are all my own, and I spent lots of time on facts. None of these have been taken from anywhere else. They're all mine.
Are they facts if they're yours?
They are 100% facts because
Have you verified these facts, or are these just your opinions? Because we need to give authenticity to our listeners, by the way.
They are facts. I've not verified them with Damien Leone, but he's not the easiest of guys to get hold of. So hopefully he'll listen, and then he can verify my facts are correct.
So this week on Facts, we're going to change the name a bit to Scott's Theories.
She jumps out and she attacks Art with the sword in the most brutal possible way, just goes at him and takes his head off, not in like a single swing. It's an effort to remove his head, but she does not stop for a second, just keeps going at him.
So cool, because she hits him first time and Art doesn't expect it.
Yeah,
and he's sort of like, oh, fuck. But then the second time, he almost like tilts his head as if to say, give it another swing.
Yeah, go on, have another go.
And it's like, fuck, man. Yeah, it's cool. Really cool.
Once Art's down, she grabs her brother and they sort of start to make their way out. And Mini Art comes and collects Art the Clown's head and slinks off into the shadows. The movie ends with their brother and sister having an embrace, or so I thought, until we get a mid-credit scene.
We do get a very, very intense mid-credits. As well, I just want to touch on, as Mini Art picks up Art's head, her eyes glow bright yellow.
Yeah.
Which is my Stephen King theory with the whole Deadites thing.
Yeah, you're thinking like the Deadlights.
Deadlights, that's the one, not Deadites. I'm thinking Deadlights because in the mid-credit scene that we're about to talk about in a second, we also have some more bright yellow eye Deadites tying everything together thing.
We do. So we go to the mental asylum where the surviving girl from the first one who attacked the reporter is being held. We get Chris Jericho, famous wrestler, also famous from his appearance in Sharknado 3.
It's the only place I know him from.
There's a big step up from Sharknado 3 for him.
I don't know if it is. Sharknado 3 is awesome.
I've got to say, he's actually not a bad actor either.
I was really convinced by his role in this. I thought he did great. Really solid. To be fair, though, wrestling is just acting. Like, if you're not a good actor and you're a wrestler, then
you're not going to be very good.
You're not a very good wrestler.
So he's talking about like this. I don't know, like this dodgy like Halloween pudding his missus has brought in. He's getting the nurse to give him some, and then the nurse goes off to check the cell. In the cell, we get the toilet shot first, which is covered all in red and black goop, which is what we saw fall out of the Mini Art at the beginning of the movie when we first meet her. And this is when I realised that it's a demon, and the demon can move freely through whoever Art has interacted with. So the demon is now transferred into the lady at the asylum. And she was in her when she attacked the woman in the studio as well. So this demon is hopping between people that Art the Clown has laid his hands on. What happens next, I didn't see coming. She gives birth to Art the Clown's head.
Yeah. I don't know what to say now, and I didn't know what to say then when I saw it either.
There was definitely no body, was there? It was just Art the Clown's head.
No, it's just his head. It's his severed head from the end of the film.
I know why.
Why?
Because she's going to decapitate. The next start of the next movie will be her decapitating herself and Art putting his head on that body.
I don't fucking know even what to say, man. This film has just blown. I'm too ill to watch this film.
Anyway, that's the end. Now, before I hit you with 3-word reviews and your thoughts, I want to remind you that you can call the show. You could do that by send us a voicemail on our website, yourunpodcast.com. Click on record us a message. You can also do it through an audio DM on Instagram or by stitching a video on TikTok when I ask for stitch responses. We've got one for later in the show. Really good take on this movie.
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
So 3-word reviews all come from Instagram this week, not because I forgot, like last week, purely for the fact that Instagram just fucking run the show on 3-word reviews this week. Romeo Tutor, brutal as fuck, and they're a horror account. The OG Shape, Dan, who we know from this show. I won't watch. Dan, you really should. I really went into this thinking I would hate it, and I absolutely loved it. So I definitely watch it.
I know how much you were like dreading having to watch this, especially knowing before we went in, you was like, dude, I fucking hated the first one, man. And this one's like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Like, I genuinely don't know if I can do it. I remember he said to me, like, I just don't think I could do it. I was like, man, just go in, give it a fresh chance. It's getting really good reviews. You'll like it, honestly.
I even said to you that you might have to do the notes and you might have to lead it because I might not be able to finish it.
Yeah, I was like, dude, honestly, just give it a fresh chance. You'll be fine.
We got Deddy Munster, absolutely fucking incredible. They're also a horror account. Golden Chainsaw, absurd, gory fun, also a horror account. Cult Film Central YouTube, holy fucking shit. And they're a YouTube movie reviewer. And I think every single one of them capture it perfectly because those are the things you say and you think when you watch this.
100%. And then some.
Yeah, and then some. Memes to make you mad. Lots of love and defense for our terrifying clown who memes to make you mad. The meme I done was Art the Clown with a caption that says, "I'm king of the clowns now." Next to him was Tim Curry's Pennywise, pointing and laughing with ha ha ha. Then below it was a poster of Dairy. Welcome to Dairy, the new It TV series. Then Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise that says, "Strap in, mime boy." This is by far the most engaged memes to make you mad we've ever had, and I made some people fucking mad.
Wow.
To the point that I'm going to tell you to go and find that post on my Instagram and read through it because I can't even bring you a fraction of what we got. Not even a fraction.
This clown, man, this fucking clown is taking over, honestly.
100%. So I got, like so Bella, are you trying to pick a fight? Question mark. Yes, Bella, I was. Welcome to Memes to Make You Mad. And Bella's a horror account I interact a lot with on TikTok, and she's only recently followed me on Instagram. So this for her was like a fuck you. We got the Plagueis. Gore doesn't count as scary to me. My job is far more disgusting than any horror movie. Now, you know me. I had to ask straight away, why? They're a recycler of ornaments. They make things out of recycled stuff for ornaments and jewellery. And when I say stuff, I'm talking like dead animals, dead bugs. So one of the things they'd done the day before I put this out was they were boiling maggots out of pheasants' heads.
Oh, I would love to be. Is that stuff for purchase? Can I buy that stuff?
It is. So they have a second account where you can view all of their stuff, and it's fucking cool. And it's called Can't Afford Diamonds. It's such a cool account, and like the stuff they make is it's just out of this world good.
I'm sure it's amazing. I'd love to. I haven't seen any of it, so I'm not disrespecting it. I'm sure it's amazing. But when at the Love of Horror we saw the taxidermy stuff, Elise had a meltdown.
Yeah,
it's like, I don't get it. It's weird. If somebody has made something out of boiled maggots, I will pay good money to be able to send that to Elise.
Yeah, it's honestly, the stuff's really good. So they've got like rings and brooches that they've made out. They've got like bugs, and then they've like cast the bugs in resin, and it's super, super cool. They've got another one which is like it's chicken feet on a stand, but just the feet with no chicken. It's really cool. Really, really, really out there.
That's awesome. That sounds like the kind of decor I would like in my house.
Yeah. We got Whole Doll Parts, who is Katie from Spacebound of the Doll. She had a lot to say, a lot. So much so she DM'd me to apologise for ranting on my post.
What, that much to say?
There's about 5 pages full.
Holy shit. I know she's a fan of this film. I'd seen that she really rated it.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you all of it. I'm going to give you the footnotes and like the beginning bit, and the rest of it you can go and view the post because there's lots. She put, "You know what?" exclamation mark. So instantly I knew I was onto a winner. You know what? Fuck the remake of It. It wasn't that good. It was contrived bullshit that ran on the coattails of a much better original movie. She goes on to say that the book was great. The remakes were dull as fuck. And ends it with Terrifier, however. Terrifier is different. And then there's another 5 pages of stuff after this.
Fuck you know.
She did say to me, because I told her, "Congratulations, you're part of Memes to Make You Mad." She's like, "I wasn't mad, but I need you to understand." I was like, "Look, I loved it." She's like, "Oh, okay."
I don't understand how people don't get Memes to Make You Mad now.
It's good though, because I do memes a lot. when people don't know if it's like just a meme and that's my opinion, or if it is a meme to make you mad. So I still get a reaction every time.
Low facts, low.
I'm giving you facts, but these are facts that I have garnished from my watching of this multiple times, and I'm setting you a bit of homework to rewatch so you can get these as well and confirm that I'm right. So there are notes in the score from A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Halloween worked into the soundtrack. Not a lot, but enough notes where you go, ah. So in the dream sequence where in the sequence where you've got the possum in the corridor, it does the do, 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 do from A Nightmare on Elm Street. I was like, oh my fucking God. And they're throughout the movie. And it's not a lot. It's worked into, it's just a couple of notes that you go, oh.
It's there enough to not get done by fucking copyright, but it's there so you know as a fan of that franchise that they are there to pay respect to it in a sense.
And they are definitely there. It's not enough for copyright. We're talking a couple of notes in a musical score, but it's
you can be the biggest fan of Halloween and you only need to hear that opening note and you can associate it immediately. And if you throw that into a horror film in a stalker situation, you know what that note represents and where it's playing into place. And they do that throughout this film with everything.
Yeah, on your rewatch, see if you can spot the Halloween, because when it was like I was like,
I noticed it.
Oh, you did.
But I thought it was pretty early on in the fog scene in the alleyway.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Because I noticed it and I was like, no, surely not. And it's not until we've had this conversation now. But when I picked it up early doors in the early scene in the fog in the alleyway.
Yeah, there's just enough.
There's just enough, isn't there? Yeah.
There are costumes that mimic the costumes of A Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, and Hellraiser. These can be seen being worn by teens throughout the movie. Noticeably the most when the kids are on the swing set. You'll recognise most of those costumes from Friday the 13th, things that were being worn at the camp.
I noticed.
Again, rewatch because they're definitely there. The movie is shot that it's clear that it's in modern times. References to COVID being one of the ones that is more delicately dealt with. It also incorporating coronavirus and the pandemic into the story in such a subtle way also explains a lot of the behaviours in this. So it explains the behaviour of the mum. It explains the behaviour of Sienna and her friends when they go out, and when they go out and really go for it. It explains why Jonathan's a bit more reclusive and has had all this time to be surfing the net and looking for serial killers because he's got friends. We know he's got friends. He was with them at school. Yeah. And it's just so subtly done. And he showed how it affected the world. I thought it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And that's it for my facts. There's lots of facts online if you want to go get some more, but they're mine. I'm going to dive straight in. I'll let you go second this week. I'm going to try and bring it all together for you now.
Yeah, please. I feel like I'm expecting you've built it up throughout this whole episode that you are going to bring everything full circle and shine light upon the masterpiece that is Terrifier 2. So no pressure.
Well, I wouldn't have kept bringing it up had you not kept going, why?
Because why?
It's like having a 5-year-old do the podcast with, but why? Why?
But genuinely why? So you better have a good explanation why.
So I'm going to give it my round up first and then I'll run through it. So for a gore-filled movie, this is not a retread of the first. It's built on a section of the genre that I hate. I hate these gore, torture porn type movies. But they've done it in a different way. It's a character-driven movie that plays with the realms of reality, heaven, hell, earth. It took inspiration from things like Constantine, Dante's Inferno. These are the things I think Damien Leone was looking at when he was trying to put a backstory to Art the Clown. I went into with the intention to hate this. I make no bones about it. I went in ready with my pen and pad to shred this scene by scene. An opening scene, if it had stayed like that, I'd have pulled this to pieces, but it didn't. I'm 4 watches in. Every single time I'm finding deeper meaning and more to it. And it's without a doubt the movie of the year so far. It's the birth of potentially an icon that could last as long as Michael Myers. We could be doing movies like this in 40 years' time. I'm shocked at the level of artistry, not just in visual effects, but in story build-up, character, soundtrack, design of costumes. Everything is pitch perfect. I've changed my score on this so many times throughout watching it. I enjoyed this a lot more than I enjoyed Halloween Ends, and I scored that a 9, which gives me nowhere to go. It's 10 out of 10.
Fucking hell.
The meaning of this, so the what I'm taking from it is an angel versus demon scenario, and I think you're going to find Art the Clown is a Sienna's dad.
Right, there's some connection to Sienna's dad.
It's Art.
I think Sienna's dad lost his mind due to a brain tumor and killed the girl, and the girl's come back and seeking revenge. I don't know. There's something. I don't know.
It's a heaven and hell situation. So Sienna is blessed by heavenly abilities, effectively protected by God. So I took a lot of when she was fixed and resurrected. That was very much like she was baptized in the water, and that healed her. That's what I took from that. And Art the Clown is a demon. He's the devil, effectively.
Right.
And the little girl is controlling it all. I think she was Art's first victim. So I'm with you that I think Dad is Art the Clown.
Right.
So I'm taking a lot more spiritual, biblical meanings from this than they might not even be there. I might be reaching, but that's what I'm getting from it. And like the addition of the dream sequences, I don't think they're dreams. I think that's her slipping into the demon world.
Yeah, I kind of get that a little bit, but not at the same time. So I'm going to dive into my roundup, and I'm just going to hit you with I really, really, really like this film a lot. I like it for what it is, and I'm not trying to fall out with anybody, especially not you, Scott. But I definitely think you're reaching in terms of trying to pin all this together. I think Damien Leone has had such severe backlash from his first Terrifier film. I think he's birthed such an icon in Art the Clown, and somebody that will go on to be an icon for fucking generations to come in terms of horror. And rightly so, the same way Freddy and Michael Myers has earned their place as slasher icons. But I feel like going into this sequel, he's tried too hard to bring everything full circle and tie in the first film to this second film. And instead of just accepting the first film for what it was as flaws, I feel like he's just writing this big loop to try everything together. Unless this was his overall arcing plan and this is everything that he intended it to be. And I hope to God that's true, because it's what this character deserves. As a standalone film, I loved it. I loved the practical effects work in it. I loved the kills in it. I loved the score in it. I loved the character of Art the Clown in it. The makeup design of Art the Clown was fantastic. The story had some major loopholes in it. There wasn't enough answers in this that I wanted to have.
That's a problem you had with X. Yeah,
it is. I criticised X previously, and it would be wrong of me to not then bring up the same issues that I have with this. If I'm watching a film, it should be a contained story. There should be hints at a sequel. There should be suggestions towards a sequel or plot points that are left unanswered. But it shouldn't be a full fucking story and a full character development that's not come full circle within one contained film. I might be on my own on this, but at the end of the day, this is my roundup and this is my score and this is what I'm taking away from it. And for me, I'm open for the idea of sequels. I'm opening for continuations of films, but there needs to be handled in a right way. You can't just go in as an egotistical maniac expecting that you're going to get a 4-act movie off one character, which he probably will, and rightly so, off this character. He definitely will. This is going to be around for years and years and years, and we will probably see a Terrifier 6, 7, and 8 every couple of years now. But I feel like the first Terrifier lacked in plot. The second Terrifier has then gone in to try and tie the plot of the first one in to justify it into the second one, and the second one is now also equally lacking in plot while having plot, but not having a fully rounded up plot, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. Again, like X, I like those unanswered questions. That's something as a horror movie fan, I like to make my own assumptions.
Exactly. And my opinion is not gospel. What I'm saying is my opinion.
Of course it is.
This is just my take on the film. And I fucking loved it. I had such a blast with this film. I had such a blast. It was so enjoyable to watch But when you stood there and you're looking and you're like, well, why is that that? Why is that this? Why is that that? And as you say, like a 5-year-old, why? I am a why guy, and I like to know things, and I like to have answers. And yeah, this is what I do with TV series. So it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, like I am a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I'm dying to watch the Rings of Power TV series that's come out. But it was like, oh, have you watched the first episode yet? I'm like, no. So have you watched the second episode? I'm like, no. I was like, I will wait till we get to the end of the series, and I will sit and watch it in one go. Because if I have to do week in, week out, I will be there at the end of every week being like, why? Who is he? And why is he that? And why is that there? And I can't wait a week to find out. And now I have to wait at least 2 years to find out in Terrifier 3 who the fuck this dude is and why he's doing what he's doing. And I probably still won't get the answers that I want then. And that shit annoys the fuck out of me. And for that reason alone, I'm pissed off with this film. But overall, I loved it. It was a great ride. Loved the practical effects. I loved the score. I loved the acting, barring the casting of Jonathan. And he didn't do a bad job. He didn't do a bad job at all. I just think in comparison to how great everybody else was around him, he just lacked a little bit in substance. But overall, the film was fantastic, and it lived up beyond my expectations of coming out the back of the first film. The first film was a bang average slasher with many, many problems. Part 2 is a fucking great slasher with a few minor problems that it would be wrong of me not to draw attention to. It's great. It really is. It's an absolute blast. And if you haven't seen it and you've listened to this entire review, then you're a maniac. Go and watch this film first. For me, it's a 4 out of 5. Or if we're doing Scott score, it's an 8 out of 10, which is fucking solid, by the way.
Do you know the last 2 episodes you slipped into my scoring? I haven't said anything.
But I know. I did know. And when you said yours, you was like 10 out of 10. I was like, I don't do 10 out of 10. What's this guy doing?
No, and you done it like the last 2 episodes. You scored Event Horizon out of 10.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, there you go. It's a 4 out of 5.
It's solid.
It's fucking massively solid.
Yeah.
And you know what? It'll probably get to like maybe Terrifier 3 or Terrifier 4, and this whole plot thing is going to come full circle. And I'm going to stand back and I'm going to give it a standing ovation as being one of the greatest horror films of our generation. Yeah. I know that's where this is going. I can feel that this is where it's going to go.
Yeah, I agree.
He is the next Freddy. He is the next Jason. He is the next Michael Myers for fans of horror growing up. And rightly so. Like, Damien Leone is a very, very talented director. He's a very, very talented makeup artist and practical effects designer. His score work is fantastic. I don't know if he does the score in this or not, but I can feel like he has much influence in a lot of what's going on with these films. I want it to do well. I just want more than what I've got here. I just want more than what I've got here. I just hope this all comes right and he's not just writing these as he goes. I hope he has an end game and a vision, and it's not just something he's just writing himself into a corner with.
Well,
you know, and we get to like that Game of Thrones thing where we have 4 epic films and then he tries to tie it up in the 5th and it just fucking bombs, you know, and everything else around it falls apart is what I'm hoping this doesn't become.
I'm hoping it doesn't do that. And let's find out what the listeners thought of it.
Sound off.
Again, sound off. We got loads of responses, but I picked a few, and I picked some from TikTok and some from Instagram as well. Pretty Killer Podcast told us what the favourite bits were: sunglasses, bedroom, dinner table, and Art handing out candy. Those were the highlights for her, and all of those brilliant. The sunglasses is just so funny,
hilarious.
And that's something I appreciate, that they injected a bit of humour, because the first one there was none. I didn't laugh at anything in the first one, and this one I found myself quite a lot going.
I don't know. I mean, you got the stuff with the selfies and stuff in the first one, and he does do that mimey sort of laughing thing that he does here. But
I find that sinister though. But like when he puts on a pair of sunflower sunglasses and like jazz hands, that is funny shit.
Yeah, because he's so dark as a character.
Yeah. Cray KJ. I loved it, but a good while since I've seen a good horror film. Loved the humour, loved the makeup and the ending. And she's a horror account on Instagram. We've got Hunting the Paranormal. Incredibly gory. The kills were insane, but overall it's just a really good movie. So, yeah. good across the board.
I scored this higher than Halloween Ends, and you know how much of a Halloween fan I am.
Exactly that. The last one we've got is actually an audio clip. It's a little bit long, but stick with it because it's got a brilliant take on it. So this comes from JR Dexter 85. They're an account over on TikTok.
So my first question is, what the fuck kind of laundry detergent is he using, Art the Clown? How did he get all of the blood out of all of the white that he wears? That's what I want to know first. So obviously we know this is a movie and not real life. So the things I'm about to say, like, I understand that it's a movie, but like when he breaks into that one girl's house and kills her for 45 minutes straight, there's literally no way she doesn't pass out within the first minute of him killing her. Like, there's no way that she stays awake for that. And that kind of, it's whatever. Terrifier 2 is a lot. I could have done without the dreaming stuff. It was kind of, and the prediction or premonition stuff. It just didn't seem necessary to me. The first one didn't have anything like that in there, and maybe there's something that they're going to build up to that's going to show that it was there in the first one. I don't know, but it just didn't seem necessary. Again, it was a fairly long movie that could have been a little bit shorter without all of that. Like, it wasn't necessary. Like, they could have made this movie without the premonition stuff and the dreaming crap. Art's a fucking killer. That's what he is. And as for his favorite scene, in the end, there's when they're in the psychiatric ward. I could have sworn that was Triple H, but I looked it up. It's I think his name is Jericho, he's also a wrestler, which is funny. But favorite scenes, that laundry room scene, like when he's just like playing patty cake with no one. And I definitely want to know what kind of laundry detergent he uses, and why were they not like sponsoring this movie? Because that's a lot of blood to get out of a lot of white, and whatever the he's using, everybody should be using.
Of all the things to digest from this film, laundry detergent is not one of them for me, I'll be honest.
He's got a good point, though.
He's got a very fucking good point.
Blood doesn't come out of anything, but I think he's got the same issues you've got. It's the...
Yeah. I haven't killed a lot of people, and I haven't had to wash blood out of my clothes, so that wasn't really a main problem for me. And also regarding the passing out thing, I don't know. I mean, people's adrenaline kicks in certain ways, and certain people react to things differently. I know of people who have endured, I don't know personally of people, but I watch a lot of fucking documentaries on Discovery and stuff, and I know of people who've had bear attacks and been dragged into a cave and mauled for fucking 3 days and have been awake for the full thing. So this stuff does happen. So that is a realistic premise. Again, with the dream sequence stuff, I get it. I wouldn't say I necessarily didn't want it, because I liked the dream sequence, at least the initial dream sequence. I didn't like the way that it tied in full circle at the end. It didn't make an awful lot of sense to me, but I liked the initial one where she fell asleep when she had the dream. I just didn't like the way that she then got knocked through into the hellscape and she was back at the Clown Cafe without meaning.
And Damien Leone, if you're listening, what laundry detergent was it?
Got to be a Daz, surely. The whitest of whites.
If you've not seen this yet, it's available on YouTube and Amazon Prime in the UK. It's about a tenner.
I fully thought you was going to if you haven't seen this yet, Daz is available in the UK.
Daz is available. Other softener brands and washing stuff is also available. In the US, it's in selective cinemas. It's actually gone up to 1,500 cinemas for Halloween weekend, which is insane.
This is going to just rock it. Absolutely rock it this Halloween weekend. And rightly so, man. I fucking wish it all the success in the world, because it deserves it.
It definitely does. It's also going to be streaming on Screenbox. You can also rent it everywhere else in the US as well. You can catch me and Mark next on Friday for horror movie news. In contrast to last week's episode, Mark's actually going to rock up and join us this week.
I'm back. I hope we do like a return of the Mac intro as I come on.
What I might do is see if I can find some unlicensed Eminem. Guess who's back again? Sick notes back, tell a friend.
Fucking sick note. Come on, dude. I'm genuinely ill. I am genuinely ill.
I've got lots of cool news. If you've not listened to that show before, it's me and Marc talking general shit about horror in our lives, and we scatter a bit of news in there so we don't get done for false advertising. Next week on the show, we are covering Nosferatu, which is a movie I have never seen, and it's been on my watch list forever. So I'm kind of looking forward to watching that. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't. I remember growing up and having the VHS in the house, and I may have seen like 5 minutes here and there. But as an overall start to finish, no, I haven't. I've seen it the same way I've seen Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
I've seen the Phantom of the Opera song.
Yeah, exactly that. So your homework this week, everybody, go and watch Nosferatu. So next week, you know what we're talking about. Marc, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, you want me to do a proper stand-up?
If you could, that'd be. You caught me. You caught me completely off guard. Goodbye. I was like, I didn't know where to go.
Sorry, right. Cheers, guys. Thank you ever so much for listening, and we will see you on Friday for Newsweek. And if you don't listen to Friday's Newsweek, you can catch us again on Tuesday for Horror Movie Talk.
No,
that's not our podcast.
That's not our podcast. So that's a great podcast, but it's not our podcast.
Oh.
There you go. Bryce and David just got a free shout out. Horror Movie Talk.
So you can catch us for every Tuesday for the Euro podcast Horror Movie Review.
Yes, that.
See you next week, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Before I forget, you want to die tonight?
Hypochondriac with asthma is in there.
I just lose all sense of equilibrium and I don't know what's happening.
I'm gonna say 9 out of 10.
Always enjoy watching it every time.
Windmills were fire hazardous.
He literally used the paycheck to pay for a house. That's all it was for.
Meeting someone for the first time, you wouldn't be talking like that.
Because he was so stoned, he'd like half fallen asleep.
You and Tasha are meant to be. Y'all figure that shit out.
I just got fired yesterday. I'm free.
I swear to God, I'm gonna stick that wolf up your asshole.